And with that, we are thrilled to welcome on Tim Legler to the show, ESPN's NBA analyst. How you doing today, Tim?
I'm great, man. Wait, did Jay Crawford just say I represent the establishment?
You are the establishment.
Yeah.
I am the establishment.
No,
Am
Tim,
I
first of all,
established or the establishment? That's what
I want to give you a shout out. First of all, tell people where you are, what time it is, and you still said, yeah, I'll come on, no problem.
I am in San Francisco right now. It's 8:32. I wouldn't miss this with you, man. Come on. I'm here because I'm doing the Warriors-Grizzlies game tonight, so I'm calling a lot more games this year, man. It's part of my new kind of expanded role with them a little bit. I'm still doing my studio gigs, but I'm getting a lot of games now, and I am really excited to get the Warriors tonight. Grizzlies are shorthanded, but I saw them on Wednesday night. I called the game against the Lakers, and they still are a team that fights. So I'm expecting a really good game tonight. I'm calling it with Mike Breen. So first time I've called a game with Breen, so I'm very excited about tonight.
I'm excited for you. I know you've wanted to do that for a while. I always thought you were going to end up as a general manager or even a coach. We had many conversations, you and I did, about perhaps taking that avenue. But I think this is a perfect role for you, and I've caught some of your games. No surprise at all. You're doing a marvelous job, and that looks like a nice new home for you. We have to start with the Cavaliers. We opened our show asking, is the national media missing this story? The other night when they won their 13th in a row, which puts it, I think, as the 6th longest winning streak to start a season in the NBA, they were the third story of the A block. A, are they getting enough attention? And B, does that even matter? Who cares?
I agree with you that they probably haven't gotten enough attention for this kind of start. And look, we all know why that is. Going into the season, and there's always sexier storylines than that, and that's what we're going to focus on at the start. There's new faces, new places. We're always going to focus on certain players and teams coming into the season. We're 3 weeks in. It's at the point now, though, the number has reached a level that people are starting to take notice, obviously, as they should. 13-0 to start the year. What's really hard to believe about that is just in modern basketball, with load management, guys getting nights off, I think the approach to the regular season in general, it's difficult to go on a streak this long. It just is. And they've been so good. Their metrics are so good across the board. This isn't like they're doing it one way. They're not bombing you out from the three-point line every night. They're not just simply a shutdown defensive team. They've got great balance across the board. I think they check the boxes of what you want to make a well-rounded team. They do defend. They play fast. They shoot the ball. They do a little bit of everything. So I think now, guys, we're at that point. We're going to start really honing in on this, and it's going to be fun to see how long this can go on. Looking at their schedule, I mean, they've got a couple games with Boston coming up in the next 7-8 games. I think those are the two you look at and say, man, if they can beat Boston, but first they got Chicago, Charlotte. I mean, both games at home, they're winnable. So now you're at 15. And now you go to Boston, right? That's the one that we're circling to see. If they win that game in Boston, you get this thing to 16. You might run it to 20. Now it's like everybody, the entire country's taking notice of it. So it's going to be fun to see how long this can go on. But I agree with you, to this point, they probably haven't gotten as much notice. If this were the Lakers or the Warriors doing this or the Celtics, they would be getting a lot more attention than the Cavs.
Tim, obviously no one could have seen this coming before the season. A lot of us here were kind of down on the team coming into the year because they made no changes on the roster. It's basically the exact same roster as last year. Obviously, some of those guys are playing a lot better. We'll get into that. But the one big change they made was head coach. And we know it's not all him, but obviously we've given Kenny Atkinson a ton of credit. What can you tell us about him and the great job he's done so far?
Listen, I've known Kenny a long time. I've always been a big fan of Kenny's. But look, I like J.B. Bickerstaff too. So when they made the coaching change, honestly, my first impression was I thought J.B. Bickerstaff got a little bit of a raw deal. Based on the year that they had, you win a first-round series, you're not at 100% when you play the best team in the NBA, and you get knocked out of the playoffs. I mean, most coaches, that's not a fireable offense. Yeah. And they make the change. You bring in Kenny Atkinson. I like him a lot. I wasn't sure at the time if this was sort of like a lateral coaching move. But clearly, you've got to give him a lot of credit because they have connected to him. And who knows what it could be. There's a lot of subtle things. I mean, you can look on the court, and you're not going to see a tremendous difference. I mean, it's the same personnel, as you said. The difference is they clearly are bought into his message, and they're bought into each other as a group. And most importantly, for the most part, they've been really healthy. And in this league right now, if you can just show up every night with your guys, you've got a chance to win every night. I don't care even if you're a top-tier team or not. Like, you've got a chance to win if you just show up with your top 9 guys and they all play. Cleveland's been doing that. A lot of teams in this league haven't. And so Cleveland is certainly taking advantage of that as well. And I give Kenny Atkinson credit because he has been able to tap into something with this group that maybe there was a little bit left hanging there that J.B. Bickerstaff could not grab. And Kenny Atkinson has. And now you're seeing this group at peak potential. It's early. Let's see, what the rest of the East looks like here. And by the time we get to Christmas, I think there's going to be, we're going to view some other teams differently than we do now. But certainly right now, the Cavaliers have been incredible, and give them all the credit, man, because they've taken this league by storm right now.
Tim, I'm so glad you mentioned that about JB because I kind of said the same thing, and he laid the foundation for this. And I think a lot of fans here are like, God, he was awful. Look at what was right underneath him, and he wasn't able to figure this out. And I don't think that was it. But one thing that's clearly changed is Evan Mobley, and Kenny has unlocked something with Evan. What have you seen from him? How much of this is Kenny putting him in better positions to succeed? And how much of this is just Evan Mobley saying, this is year 4 and I have to do this. It's now or never for me?
Honestly, I would focus more on the latter. Look, some guys find their stride, their confidence, their aggressiveness at different times. I mean, some guys get it pretty quickly. Some guys, I've seen guys take year 5, year 6 before that kicks in. I think for Evan Mobley, I've been wanting to see this level of aggressiveness in him since he came into the league. I was really high on him coming in. I made the Chris Bosh comparison several times as he was coming into the league because I thought that was a good comp for him because he's a guy I think that has more scoring potential than he's shown us. He has the defensive prowess. I thought eventually he could step out and start making some perimeter shots. I mean, Chris Bosh was a back to the basket or mid-post 15, 16 foot. He liked to ISO in that area and it beat you with one step either direction. He didn't become a deep shooter till he got to Miami. Like that's when he had to. He had to blend in with LeBron and D Wade. I saw all of these traits in Evan Mobley. And I think it's finally clicking for him. He just looks more confident. He looks like he is more sure of himself on that end of the floor, that he's out there to do some damage and have an impact and not just float around and blend in. And I think more than anything else, I attribute it to he's 23 years old now. He's in year 4. It's time. And I think that's what we're seeing out of Evan Mobley. And look, obviously Kenny Atkinson's got to get some credit because some of this could just be communication with a player. Different coaches can unlock certain things just based on communication and the way they view a guy, and they tap into something with his psyche that brings something out in him, even if the X's and O's aren't dramatically different.
Legs, Donovan Mitchell was a guy who signed with the Cavs. It looked like, it was going to be one of those things where he may have looked to go other places, but the Cavs did manage to sign him. In terms of where Donovan Mitchell is in the pecking order of the league, do you think he's like one of the most underrated superstars? Sometimes I think if he played in New York or played in LA, people would know more of him, but he's been in Utah, been in Cleveland. But when you look at his skill set, when you look at his leadership ability, he's a guy that, wants to win a championship. Where does he kind of rank in the pecking order? And do you think he can be the best player on the championship team?
Yeah, look, I think you're on to something here. When you start, having conversations, and it's a daily basis in this league, and you do what I do for a living, whether it's on the air, you're calling a game, and different teams will come up, or debate-driven studio shows that I'm a part of, and you start talking about these top guys, he doesn't come up. Now, he's going to come up more right now because of his winning streak and because of how well they're playing. If they continue, forget the winning streak, it's going to end here. At some point, it's going to end, probably sooner than later. It's not about the streak. It's about, is this team a legitimate contender? Like, is this the team that you're looking at and saying they're going to be the last team standing against Boston? Because that's really what this is in the East. Boston won a championship. Boston has the most versatility amongst their starting 5. Boston's the team that you're looking at. That's the measuring stick for everybody else in the Eastern Conference. So you don't even think about, hey, can we win a championship? It's, can we be the last team standing to go toe-to-toe with them and give yourselves a chance to beat them? When these conversations come up, Donovan Mitchell is not usually a part of those conversations, and I think he should be a part of those conversations more often. The one thing he really gives them, when they run out of the tunnel every night, they know they've got a guy that can be the best player on the floor on any given night, no matter who's out there. And that gives them a swag. He wins any matchup that's in front of him. Donovan Mitchell is capable of beating that matchup. And not every team has one of those guys. And the Cavs do. And I think that now when you combine his career productivity really with a team now that is winning at this level, that's grabbing the conversation here around the league, if they can continue to keep this up, and it looks like they might be on a collision course for Boston down the road, Donovan Mitchell is going to get more of his just due this season than all of the previous years combined.
It was incredible in their game against Philly. It was close. I always felt like they were going to pull it out. But Donovan Mitchell stepped up and became that superstar in the last couple of minutes, and it was because of his play where they pulled away. He was doing a little bit of everything. We haven't talked yet about Darius Garland, and he's a real enigma because this is a guy that was playing at a very high level, at an all-star level just a couple of years ago. And last year, whether it was because of the injury, whatever it was, it looked like somebody else had invaded Darius Garland's body, and that wasn't him. But the old Darius Garland is back. What do you make of how he's playing, and how do you explain such a precipitous drop-off from where he was, and now, again, this sudden rapid improvement to where he used to be?
Great question. The second part I have a hard time answering, Jay, because you almost got to be there every day around the team to kind of figure that out. I'm going to tell you kind of a funny story about Darius Garland. I was involved with Under Armour for a long time, coaching on their AAU circuit, and Steph Curry is obviously the face of that brand for the NBA, and they run a lot of different events around the country, one of which was the All-American game that he would run out in the Bay Area every summer. It was like top 30 players in the country invited, and I was a big part of that. It was like a 4 or 5 day experience, and it capped off by a game that these top 30 guys would play, and I was able to coach a team in that. And Darius Garland was on my team. And listen, I'm going to be honest with you, going out there, you don't know all of these players. These are high school players. You don't know all of these guys. But, Markelle Fultz was there, and Michael Porter Jr., and like all these guys, Josh Jackson, like all these guys were there. And Darius Garland was there, and he was my point guard for the weekend and in the game. And I'm sitting there, Fran Fraschilla was sitting on my bench, and the game starts, and I'm watching Darius Garland, and I'm kind of looking at Fran Fraschilla like, who the hell is this dude? Like, because he had lightning quicks, unlimited range. He had a great feel for making people better. He was not able to be contained off any sort of ball screen action. I was blown away by his talent, and I've been following him ever since. So I'm a huge fan of Darius Garland. And look, the guy's been really, really good in his NBA career. I love the fact that Darius Garland has that rare ability to morph into a more traditional downhill playmaker, get in, draw people, find people, or if he needs to, he can go give you a 16-point quarter if that's what it takes on any given night because he's that explosive as a scorer. Big fan. I don't really know what was going on with him unless there was, he was not fully healthy, and you never know with some guys, unless it's on the injury report, you don't know what sometimes guys are dealing with. They just don't feel right. But he's playing at an incredibly high level. I think he's the perfect running mate for Donovan Mitchell. And again, another guy now that's becoming more people are becoming more aware of because of the success of this team out of the gate. They're a talking point all the time. Even guys that do this for a living that have no idea, they don't follow the NBA. All they do is look at box scores. Guess what? Pull up the numbers on the Cavs, and if you start reading stat lines and start reading box scores, you're going to be getting to Darius Garland pretty quickly because you're like, man, this dude is really efficient. He has big nights when he needs them. Other nights, he's the perfect table setter. So give Darius Garland a lot of props. I've been a fan now for about 7 years.
Nice.
Tim, Ty Jerome, this guy's been in the league for 6 years. He had not really done much. His second year, he played a decent amount. But this guy, per minute, is putting up elite stats. He comes in there, and he electrifies the team, whether it's defense, whether it's passing the ball, scoring, hitting threes. He's shooting like over 60%, over 50% from three. It's nuts. What do you make of what this guy has brought to the Cavaliers this year?
Yeah, you want to ask me one thing on this team that I didn't see coming? It's Ty Jerome's impact.
Unbelievable.
Let me be honest with you. And I'm not knocking Ty Jerome. Again, he's a guy I loved him as a college player, and he came out and he's been sort of bouncing around. And he's had some success. He's been in rotations. He's played minutes for good teams, but has never really done anything that approaches what he's doing right now. Where, start of the year, you're seeing him get an opportunity, and honestly, based on his track record, you're not sure if this is going to last, and is he going to be able to hold on to those minutes. When I've watched the Cavs this year, it feels like when Ty Jerome's on the court, like that's when the Cavs are making a run. He's got his imprints all over it. A lot of good things happen when he's on the floor. These shooting splits are insane. There's no way that they can continue at this level, but there's no reason to think he won't be certainly, above 46% probably when it's all said and done from the field. He'll probably be mid-40s from the three. And if you have those kind of shooting splits as a reserve guard in this league, I mean, that's gold. That's what teams want. Efficiency. He's smart. He doesn't turn it over. He takes care of the ball, plays really hard. And I just been impressed that when you look at a Cavs run, and even if you didn't see the game, you watch highlights, and then, of course, they're going to show a run by the Cavs. Ty Jerome's usually out there, and that's all you need to know. It's like his plus-minus with groups that he's associated with is off the charts.
Tim, we'll get you out of here on this one, but it's always an honor to have an elite shooter on the show. Because it's usually just me, so I'm glad I can share the screen with another elite shooter. Tim, in 95-96, you shot 52% from three on 3.2 three-point attempts per game, which 52% led the league. Do you know there's 149 players who are averaging 3.2 three-point attempts per game this season? 149 players. Tim, if you were fast forward your game at your peak, was transported to this version in the modern era of the NBA. Are you taking 12, 13, 14 threes? How many are you getting up there?
Well, listen, if I was playing in modern times, if I was playing in this league now, first of all, I wouldn't be on this show. I would own the company that runs this show. My house would be 10 times the size that it is.
He's right.
Because here's the deal. You hit it on the head. Look, I always felt like any team I played on, I shot almost 50% from the three-point line in college. I felt like when I came in, people knew what I could do. I had the green light on any team I've ever played on, really, my whole life. But the green light wasn't this shade of green. That's the difference. And so now the light is so much greener, and more importantly, the highway has 10 lanes in it sitting at that green light. Yeah. When I played, there was like one green light. It was a green arrow, and only the people in that lane could shoot the ball when they wanted to. So the way you processed what was a good shot was completely different. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we led the league as a team the year that I led the league in three-point shooting as well in Washington, and we were taking like 18 a game. All right, that's the first quarter now, a lot of nights for some of these teams.
Yeah.
So the difference is how you processed what a good shot was. I never felt like I had any handcuffs on. It was like, hey, if I had daylight, let it fly. The difference was just I knew that wasn't considered a good shot. And nobody had step-back threes in their game. People weren't shooting side-step threes. Like now every guy in the league works on sidestep and backstep threes in the offseason. We didn't even think about that shot because it's a bad shot in our mind. So, yeah, you're right. I think that's the biggest change for me. And am I envious? You're damn right I'm envious. I'm not gonna lie. So I sit there calling games, and I get really, I can feel my face getting flush as I'm talking about this. Like tonight I've got Memphis Golden State. I'm calling the game. I'll be sitting courtside. There's probably going to be 75 threes taken in that game. Yes, I'm not going to lie. I'm envious. I'm jealous. I wish my parents had met 25 years later.
I was just going to say, you were born 25 years too soon.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's Legs, you're the best, man. It's always great to catch up with you. Good luck tonight. We'll be listening.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Tim.
Awesome. Tim Legler. Check him out on ESPN, at Legs ESPN on social media. Thanks again for Tim for joining